Faster my good evening and welcome to the Max Radio Folk Show with me, John Barker, playing the best in folk and roots music from the Isle of Man and from all around the world. Here's a track by Usher's Island called 5 Drunken Landladies. Not something that's ever been seen on the Isle of Man, I'm sure. fabulous music by Usher's Island. They really were, or are, I'm not sure whether they're still a going concern, an Irish supergroup really, featuring Andy Irvine, Donald Lunny, Paddy Glacken, Michael McGoldrick and John Doyle. And I reminded myself about them when I played a track by John Doyle a few weeks ago. His guitar work towards the end of that track I've just played was superb. I did see them at Shrewsbury Folk Festival a few years ago, and of course by the time you hear this show, I'll have just returned from this year's edition of that festival. I'm sure I had a great time, but I'm actually recording this show before I go to the festival, and indeed I'm going to do some travelling in September, so I've been recording all of September's shows as well, to make sure you don't miss out on your weekly hour of folk and roots music here on Manx Radio. An album I've been enjoying a lot recently is by Odette Mitchell, Queen of the Lowlands, and I'm going to play 2 tracks from it tonight. The first one here is Hourglass.
Oh, the hourglass is turning with these golden embers burning, and the woods are whispering winter through the trees. Oh, the season's wheel turns round again, and soon will come the driving rain. In September cars are chilling to the breeze. For there's a golden hue that's glowing all around you, and the time is coming closer to hand. So let these embers burn, and we'll watch the seasons turn. For on the hourglass and you, a falling sun.
Now the evenings here are colder. Let me wrap around your shoulder. Cast your worries to the wind and hurry home. For this year has been a hurricane, knocking on my window pane. And the lonely never want for being alone. And there's a golden that's glowing all around you, and the time is coming closer to hand. So let these embers burn, and we'll watch the seasons turn. For I'm the hourglass and you, a falling sun. Let the long nights of winter leave the new life of the spring. We can carry the warmth right through the night. For I know where I am going, where the blossom breeze is blowing, and watch them open slowly in the light. For there's a golden hue that's glowing all around you, and the time is coming closer to hand. So let these embers burn, and we'll watch the seasons turn. For I'm the hourglass and you, a falling sun. But there's a golden hue that's glowing all around you, and the time is coming closer to hand. So let these embers burn, and we'll watch the seasons turn. For I'm the hourglass and you, a falling sun. For I'm the hourglass and you, a falling sun.
Next, a song by Jack Rutter from his album This Is Something Constant. This is Sledburn Fair, which he says is a song collected from a Miss Hayhurst of Milnthorpe by Yorkshire folk song collector Frank Kidson.
finna tell her this Sledburn Fair and a trip I'd take for pleasure. In the prime of the summertime when it's fine and pleasant weather, me dad and mum did both agree that Nell and I should go for to view this Sledburn Fair, and we should ride on Domino. So I got on and then Nell got on and then off we went together. And it's everybody that we did meet, we asked how long to get there, until we came to the edge of the wood and the trees that grow so high. See yonder Nell, it's Sledburn town, says I. When we reached this famous town, we went to find the alehouse, and we looked up and we saw a sign as high as the tallest gallows. We asked for Harry the ostlerman to grant Dobbin some hay, for he'd brought us down to Sledburn Fair and we meant to stop all day. Then the landlord he came out and he treated us just so friendly, and he took us on to the finest room as if we'd been quite gentry. The puddings and sauce did smell so neat, there were pies and cheese to share. Good Lord, says Nell, we've acted well in coming to Sledburn Fair. I finna tell her this Sledburn Fair and a trip I'd take for pleasure. In the prime of the summertime when it's fine and pleasant weather.
A band I saw a few times at Shrewsbury Folk Festival in past years were the East Pointers, a wonderful young band from Prince Edward Island in Canada. One of their key members, Cody Chason, sadly passed away in 2022, but they're still going and they've got a new single out, and that's called Rafters. So, music happening around the Isle of Man this week. Well, as I say, I'm recording these shows quite a bit in advance, so I'm not sure of all the details, but I'm sure there'll be the usual Wednesday night session in O'Donnell's, starting about 8:45, and at the Sailors' Shelter in Peel, starting about 7:30, is John Rusco, Derek Oates, Peter, and me. Yes, I'm doing a short set there too that night, just before I go away again. So it'd be nice to see some of you there. Thursday night will be the Folk Club in Ramsey at the Buffs Club. Friday night a session in the Mitre in Ramsey, and there will be a Sunday afternoon session. But as usual, you need to check social media to see where that is. On Saturday night, Saturday the 30th, at the Centenary Centre, are the Hunch. Great band from the northeast of England. Here's something from their album Released, which was released in 2023, Paddy Lay Back.
It was a cold and dreary morning in December, and all of me money it was spent. What day it was I hardly could remember, and down to the fishing office went. That day it was a great demand for sailors from the colonies and Frisco and from France. So I shipped upon a limey bark, the Hotspur, got paralytic drunk on my advance, and Paddy lay back, taking your slack. Well, take your turn around your capstan, heave a pole, for we're bound ship station, boys be handy, for we're bound for Valparaiso, round the horn, oh yeah. Some of us had been drinking, and me myself was heavy on the booze. So I sat upon me old sea chest a thinking, well, I just thought I'd have myself a snooze. Well, I wish I was on board the Jolly Sailor, along with Irish Kate just drinking beer. Well, I thought what happy lads they were, these sailors, and with me flipper I wiped away a tear. And Paddy lay back, taking your slack. Go take your turn around your capstan, heave a pole, for we're bound ship station, boys be handy, for we're bound for Valparaiso, round the horn. Up alongside, and they towed us from the wharf out to the sea. Well, half the crew were puking over shipside, and the other half were puking over me. Well, the boatswain said he couldn't savvy cause, well, the crew was speaking lingo awful low. Well, the captain said the only thing to do was sack us ugly buggers up and set some more. Now Paddy lay back, taking your slack. Well, take your turn around your capstan, heave a pole, for we're bound ship station, boys be handy, for we're bound for Valparaiso, round the horn, yeah. Slack. Well, take your turn around your capstan, heave a pole, for we're bound ship station, boys be handy. Well, we're bound for Valparaiso, we're bound for Valparaiso, we're bound for Valparaiso, round the...
So that was the Hunch, who are appearing at the Centenary Centre on Saturday night. There might be still some tickets available at the usual places. Great band that I saw at Saltburn Folk Festival a couple of weeks ago, also from the northeast of England, were Pons Alias. Here's an interestingly titled track by them, The Glen Where the Deer is Imaginary, from their album Fire Under the Bridge from 2019. Sam Carter, great singer-songwriter, performer of traditional songs and member of False Lights, has a new single out, Tubal Cain, which is an arrangement of a poem by Scottish writer Charles Mackay. The song tells of the story of the first ever blacksmith who, after gaining fame and fortune for forging weapons, is horrified to see them used for violence. He stops his work in despair, eventually returning to his craft with a new purpose, forging ploughshares.
Tubal Cain was a man of might in the days when earth was young. By the fierce red light of his furnace bright, the strokes of his hammer rang, and he lifted high his brawny hand on the iron growing clear, till the sparks rushed out in a scarlet round as he forged the sword and spear. And he cried, hurrah for my handiwork, hurrah for the shield and sword, hurrah for the hand that shall wield them well, for he shall be king and lord. To Tubal Cain came many a man, as he wrought by his roaring fire, and each man prayed for a strong steel blade, the crown of his heart's desire. And he made them weapons sharp and strong, till they shouted loud for glee, and gave him gifts and pearls of gold, and spoils of the forest free. And they sang hurrah for Tubal Cain, who gives us strength anew. Hurrah for the smith and the roaring fire, hurrah for the metal true. But a sudden change came o'er his head ere the setting of the sun. Tubal Cain was filled with pain for the evil he had done. He saw men with rage and heat wage war upon their kind, and a lantern red with the blood they shed in their rage for carnage blind. And he cried, alas, that ever I made or skill of mine should plan the spear and the sword for the man whose joy is to slay his fellow man. For many a day old Tubal Cain sat brooding o'er his woe, and his hand forbore to smite the ore. His furnace smouldered low, till he rose at last with a cheerful face and a brave, courageous eye, and bared his strong right arm for work as the quick flames mounted high. And he cried, hurrah for my handiwork, while the red flames lit the air. Not alone for the blade was the bright steel made, and he forged the first ploughshare. And men taught wisdom from the past, in friendship joined their hands, hung the spear in the hall, the sword on the wall, and ploughed the willing land. And they sang hurrah for Tubal Cain, a staunch old friend is he, and for the ploughshare and the plough, to him our praise shall be. For Tubal Cain laid down the blade and turned from tools of war, so we shall mind what we have made and what we're forging for. We shall mind what we have made and what we're forging for.
Well, I'm very pleased to say there's 2 new tracks by Elizabeth Davidson-Blythe and Daniel Quayle that have appeared on Bandcamp. One is called The Burnham Oak, and I'll play that for you in a few weeks' time because I'm recording these shows well ahead of time and I can't fit it into tonight's show. But here's the other track, it's called Frankfurt. So that was Frankfurt, Elizabeth Davidson-Blythe and Daniel Quayle, and I'll play you the other new track by them in a few weeks once I'm back from my travels. Going back to the Usher's Island album now, this is Felix the Soldier.
Well, they took away me brogues and they robbed me of me spade. They put me in the army and a soldier of me made. But I could not beat the drum, I could not play the flute. They handed me a musket and they taught me how to shoot. And we had a bloody fight after we had scaled the wall. The devil a bit of mercy did the Frenchies show it all. Well, the Indians they were sly and the Frenchies they were coy. They shot away the left leg of this poor Irish boy. Then they put me on a ship and they sent me home again, with all me army training after battle, strife and din. And we headed for the Downs and we landed on the quay. Me mother came to see me and these words she did say, "Oh, Felix Felix, were you drunk? Or Felix, were you mad? Whatever has become of the two fine legs you had? I will bid me spade adieu, for I cannot take the bog, but I can play me fiddle, oh, and I can drink me grog. I have learned to smoke a pipe, and I can fire a gun. To the devil with the fighting, I am glad the war is done.
So that was the wonderful Andy Irvine leading Usher's Island with that song Felix the Soldier. Now last week I played you a great version of Hangman by Sam Kelly, and I said in a couple of weeks' time I was going to play you more versions of it. Well, here's an old one by Jean Ritchie just to keep the thread going. This is from Ballads from Her Appalachian Family Tradition, and it shows that this song had a strong tradition in North America.
Hangman, hangman, slack up your rope, oh, slack it for a while. I look down yonder and I've seen Paul coming, he's walked for a many long mile. Oh, Paul, say, Paul, have you brung me any gold to pay my fee? Or have you walked these many long miles, see me on the hanging tree? No, son, ain't brung you no gold for to pay your fee. But I just walked these many long miles, see you on the hanging tree. Hangman, hangman, slack up your rope, oh, slack it for a while. I looked down yonder and I've seen Ma coming, she's walked for a many long mile. Oh, Ma, say, Ma, have you brung me any gold to pay my fee? Or have you walked these many long miles, see me on the hanging tree? No, son, ain't brung you no gold for to pay your fee. But I just walked these many long miles, see you on the hanging tree. Hangman, hangman, slack up your rope, oh, slack it for a while. I looked down yonder and I seen my true love coming, she's walked for a many long mile. Oh, true love, say, true love, have you brung me any gold to pay my fee? Or have you walked these many long miles, see me on the hanging tree? Yes, love, I brung you some gold for to pay your fee. And I just come for to take you home so we can married be.
So there we have a version of Hangman from 1961. Goes back much further, of course, and I'll be playing you 3 very different versions of songs related to that next week. Staying in America now, though, this is Ramblin' Boy by Tom Paxton from his album of 1964.
He was a man and a friend always. He stuck with me in the hard old days. He never cared if I had no dough. We rambled round in the rain and snow. And here's to you, my ramblin' boy. May all your ramblin' bring you joy. Here's to you, my ramblin' boy. May all your ramblin' bring you joy. In Tulsa town we chanced to stray. We thought we'd try to work one day. The boss said he had room for one. Says my old pal, we'd rather bum. And here's to you, my ramblin' boy. May all your ramblin' bring you joy. Here's to you, my ramblin' boy. May all your ramblin' bring you joy. Late one night in a jungle camp, the weather it was cold and damp. He got the chills and he got 'em bad. They took the only friend I had. And here's to you, my ramblin' boy. May all your ramblin' bring you joy. Here's to you, my ramblin' boy. May all your ramblin' bring you joy. He left me here to ramble on. My ramblin' pal is dead and gone. If when we die we go somewhere, I'll bet you $1 he's ramblin' there. And here's to you, my ramblin' boy. May all your ramblin' bring you joy. Here's to you, my ramblin' boy. May all your ramblin' bring you joy.
That's lovely, isn't it? Very much of its era, but still great. Still in America, here's a track by the Moving Violations. I've played you something by them before. They're an American string band, and they play tunes that we know rather well, with a slightly different feel. So from their album Faster Than a Walk, this is Speed the Plow, Ali Crocker, and Summer Disco Colo. So that was the Moving Violations. I think it's that string bass that gives it that different feel to the rhythm. Time for just one more track now, and I'm going back to that Odette Mitchell album, Queen of the Lowlands. And this is the title track. Mitchell, if you're looking for a name, is without a T, M-I-C-H-E-L-L. Don't forget you can get in touch with me by email, folkshow@manxradio.com, but as I'm pre-recording all these shows until the end of September, I may not get back to you for a little while. I'll be back next week to play more great folk and roots music from the Isle of Man and from all around the world, and I hope you'll join me then.
Well, they call her the Queen of the Lowlands. From iron and steel was she built. They set her for sail after tide and high gale, with their quarters all packed to the hilt. Oh, they've a long way to go, many stories in tow, the American soldiers of war. But behind the great door, precious lives were in store, so they cast her away by the pull of the shore. But it was the first day of December, with a wind now got chill to the bone. The soldiers came down from the harbour, and they claimed the great ship as their own. Oh, they've a long way to go, many stories in tow, but they were saved by the pull of the tide. And the ladies would hustle and bustle along, and the children would run to and fro to each the ride. So come down to the ocean, haul her away. Come on, you soldiers, oh, come on that way. 29,000 heroes to save, like the Queen of the Lowlands. So behold the new Queen of the Lowlands. Great steamship from Holland she came, but now foreign words fill up her galley, and there's new letters next to her name. Oh, there's a long way to go, in tow, and many a mile will they roam. So cast you a prayer for the boys yet to roam, and a prayer for the young men who never came home. So go down to the ocean, haul her away. Come on, you soldiers, come all that way. 29,000 heroes to save, of the Lowlands, by the Queen of the haul her away. Come on, you soldiers, come all that way. There's 29,000